Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Higher or Lower, brought to you by oddschecker, Sporting Index and Spreadex. I'm your host and I'm back this week. My name is George Elek. I'm delighted to be joined on my right, as I am every week, or apart from last week, by Dan Worth. Dan, I watched your hosting attempts.
Yeah, any good?
And on my left, we've got, very good, mate. On my left, I've got Sam Ty, who stood in for me last week. Now you're standing for Jack Wright, who's ill. It's all a bit confusing because your scores go on my score for last week, whereas your scores this week go on to Jack's.
Yes, and I was sat there last week, and I don't really know this area very well, this side of the table, so I'm off balance.
You're like, what I'm thinking of you as is when you're really young and you play like a game of football, and there's one sub for both teams.
Yes.
And you kind of come on, and you play for one team, then you play for the other team, and that's kind of where you are.
I should be wearing a bib.
Yeah. Exactly. But yeah, delighted to have you. Last week I know you got 5 out of 8 for me, which is great. I don't know what you guys got, so
6, so not much better.
Both of you got 6.
Yeah, me and Jack both got 6.
And what? Just because I have a terrible memory these days.
Yeah.
What happened the week before?
Oh, we covered that off last week.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, we did.
I watched it.
We definitely did. You got a few right. I think 8 of them.
Magnificent. 8 out of 8 for the second time in the calendar year.
Did.
Wow. You must have gone to Dubai in the winter break, just like Arsenal.
Exactly.
Refreshed.
That is exactly what I did. I wish. I went, Dubai maybe not. A bit of sun would be nice. Right. Enough of that silliness. Let's get into the previews. And this is the show where we preview the weekend's football using the spread markets with both Sporting Index and Spreadex, taking the midpoint. And we say if we think the result will be higher or lower than the midpoint there. So we're going to kick off with Spreadex's market in Swansea, Cardiff. Obviously a South Wales derby in the Championship. Swansea with not a great deal to play for. Are they safe? Aren't they safe? They're probably safe. Can Cardiff get into the playoffs? Possibly. So Cardiff, for them, this is a huge game where another win will surely force them into the reckoning for a top 6 spot. We're looking at the supremacy market here. This is how far the favourites beats the underdog by. Swansea are the favourites. 0.45 is the midpoint. So if you're going higher, you think Swansea will win this one. Lower is draw or Cardiff. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, I thought this would happen. It's a pretty obvious one. Sam, as you're the guest, I'll let you go first.
Okay, I think I'm just attracted to the double chance on Cardiff here.
Yes.
Certainly take the win or the draw for them. I understand why Swansea are favourites because they are the home team in the derby.
Yeah.
But the form book wouldn't really suggest that they're favourites for this. And the recent form between the two teams, with Cardiff essentially getting one over them a few times now recently, and bouncing back from that Russell Martin era where obviously Swansea did the double over them, I think was the first time ever, right, in the history of the derby. So Cardiff have got some catching up to do and they've been on it. I don't have a ton of faith in either of these teams in terms of I don't see either of them as top Championship teams, but I do think that Cardiff are in better form. And I do like that double chance. And they've clearly got something together, right? Quite a few 1-0 wins recently, and they've just strung something together where Swansea have not.
Absolutely. Dan?
Yeah, to be honest, same reasoning. And I think, just purely by the fact that it's a derby, the double chance is just even more appealing here, because if it is nice and tight and ends in a draw, we win. Nice and tight.
The first time anyone's ever referred to a tight game as nice and tight. I like that. A week ago, I would have been with Swansea here because I thought Cardiff's first 3 wins were unimpressive. Like they won games, they weren't creating those, they were winning games 1-0, edging ahead and managing to see them out. I thought their performance on Saturday in the early kickoff against Ipswich was so impressive because yes, they scored twice in injury time, which will take the headlines, but they were the better team throughout the game. Like when Kiefer Moore put Ipswich ahead in the 79th minute, they didn't deserve that lead. And for Cardiff to come back against a side in Ipswich who might well be a Premier League team next season and to basically batter them, well, not batter's the wrong word, to be the better team than them over 90 minutes and to batter them in injury time where they missed a good chance before they scored twice. And we saw the scenes after that. Like, us as onlookers are looking at this top 6 race in the Championship and looking at Cardiff and thinking, probably not. Like, realistically, it's probably like, what is it, like a 50-1 shot? But their fans will be, who are experiencing this, who've been to the 4 games in a row, will be going to their into their local derby totally of the belief that if they can win this game, they're still in it. And that's really important because we're getting to the stage of the season now where you've got to look at the belief, well, not the belief of size, but more what is driving those teams. And for right now, Swansea are doing well under Luke Williams. Like it's been an okay start, but they're now probably safe. Their job is probably done in terms of what's needed this season. Yes, bragging rights are obviously up for grabs here.
And they are really important, obviously.
Massive. Like, I'm not suggesting for a second here that Swansea are going to turn up and be like, right, lads, we're on the beach.
Yeah.
Chilly beach. But I just feel like Errol Bulu, the Errol Bolution, as we've been calling it this season, in this occasion will be televised, and it might go well for Cardiff. So Cardiff, all of us in agreement there, lower for the Championship game. Into Manchester City against Newcastle now. City, same market here, the supremacy market. This is in the FA Cup. The City are 1.9 goal favourites here with spread X, so the sell price 1.8, the buy price 0.2. So higher here is City to win by 2 or more, lower Newcastle to win, a draw, or City to win by 1. We're going higher or lower, 3, 2, 1. I've kind of got a funny... I was thinking this on the train over, and I was just going through my extensive notes, that I think we're going to get a lot the same here.
Okay.
Which is no dig at the question, the quizmaster.
Yeah.
But why don't you tell us why you think City are going to win this by 2 or more?
Well, I've looked at the results from these two sides for the last 40 years. No, I haven't really, but City have won the last 9 at home against Newcastle and have kept a clean sheet in the last 5.
Ironically, if you had looked at that, you definitely would have come up with a different point of view on
Yeah,
it.
probably. Yeah. I think that's it. Like the fact that we can have a 2-0 City win here and be sitting pretty is enough for me. The clean sheet in the last 5 is the icing on the cake with the stats, really. If Newcastle don't score, then I think this is, it's a bit of a no-brainer.
I've struggled with it a little bit. It is a high margin to back, even for Manchester City. But it would have come in 4 of the last 5 times that Man City have hosted Newcastle. The only one being, I think, the last one, which was a 1-0 win. But other than that, it's been relatively easy, sort of 4-0, 5-0. And I look at the Newcastle injury list, and it's I know it's been a thing all year, but like it's no Trippier, it's no Wilson, no Joelinton, no Pope, no Tonali, possibly no Gordon off the back of Monday, possibly no Dan Burn. They do feel pretty fragile here. If you're comfortable with City winning by 2 here, and you should be looking at how good they are, their relative form at home against Newcastle, and that Newcastle injury list, I think this is a higher.
Yeah, I also found it less easy as I thought I would. I mean, in the last 7 games, Newcastle have only lost 2 in the league, which feels strange because, we have Eddie Howe talking after games about the season unravelling. Clearly their position in the league isn't what they want it to be. And those 2 defeats have come away at Arsenal and Chelsea. So teams that probably anticipated that they would, well, certainly in Arsenal's case, they would lose against. And they've only covered, they've only been beaten by 2 or more in that 1 game against Arsenal. However, it was only like an incredibly late goal against Chelsea that stopped it happening there. They're conceding so many goals, and it feels like if anyone is going to be able to punish Newcastle, it will be City. And then you throw into the fact that this is a cup game, so Newcastle naturally going to throw more men forward, like being beaten by a goal or whatever doesn't really matter. Like you have to throw caution to the wind, and therefore that should leave City with plenty of space in behind. So, yeah, I didn't find it simple. I think had the line been a tiny bit higher, and we were going, if it was 2.05 and higher, it was going to be 3 or more. I think I definitely would have been on the lower side.
Yeah, I agree.
Total goals in the same game. 3.55 is a midpoint here, so 4 or more goals is higher, 3 or fewer is lower. With spread X, higher or lower, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, call it again, Sam.
Yeah, so we've got 2 goals sort of baked in here as a minimum from the previous bet. And so you're asking yourself, can you envision a couple more?
Although recently, you said it recently on the show, Jack and I have been employing the golden middle tactic, which is where you can do like 2 bets that don't necessarily agree with each other, the hope that you get 1 up. And then sometimes you can get a golden middle, but in that case, you wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, no, I'll just go for these 2 winning.
Okay, cool, sorry. Well, it's too late now anyway.
No, it is too late. I've already held up the
so-
paddle. The paddle
yeah.
is sacred. We should get a golden paddle, by the way. Let's get that one on the list for later, for the end of the season show.
As in like quadruple your stake on that one?
On the last week, if it's all tight, you can hold the golden paddle up once, and it will count for double or quadruple points.
The nature of the way we score for this, and I think for Series 2 maybe it should be looked at, is percentages, which means that at the beginning it was quite volatile. Now they move like incrementally by like a % every week. So.
All right, let's put that back in the workshop for later. However, on the goals front, So I'm looking at Newcastle and I'm clearly seeing vulnerability. I've just listed off the injuries, and that speaks to vulnerability. I look at City at home as a very powerful opponent. And I also just the way City have been cut open a few times of late, and the way you've always been able to attack Pep Guardiola's City, which is if you play 3 perfect passes and have 3 players who are lightning fast, you might score. Well, fortunately, Newcastle still do have enough fit players to do this, right? Because they still have Harvey Barnes, they still have Alexander Isak, they still have Miguel Almiron. If I look at a forward cast of players who can possibly nick one against City or even upset them, then actually these are the types of players I'm looking at. So whenever I look at this game, I think, well, actually, I fancy Newcastle to get one. The thing is, I just fancy City to get 3. So if there's a dual threat on each side, I feel much more comfortable pushing that goal tally up and taking the higher, even at 3.55, which, for a lot of other games, I would go under 4.
Yeah, I think just when you look through City's games since January the 1st, the scorelines have been 4-2, 3-2, 3-1, 4-4, 3-2, 2-2, 4-1, 3-0, 3-2. Off the basis of that and how strong City are as an attacking threat, I'd find it impossible to sit here and say, I think it's more likely than not they're going to be under 3.5 goals.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Quite interesting though, I've kind of taken the opposite approach to Sam here.
And got to the same place.
Got to the same place, wow. Yeah, that I don't think Newcastle...
Well, you think Newcastle are going to win?
No, I don't. I just think Newcastle are going to give up so many chances to City and that City will cover this line on their own. Okay. I looked at the replay against Blackburn, which I thought Newcastle were pretty fortunate to go through from. Dubravka had to make 8 saves and Blackburn had 16 shots. I mean, I'm pretty sure, quote for quote, last time I said, if you give City 16 shots, they're going to put you to bed, and I think they're going to do it here.
Yeah.
On to Fulham against Spurs is the next game. First match goal is the mark we're looking at here with Spreadex. 31.5 as a midpoint, so lower here means you think there'll be a goal within half an hour plus a minute. And higher means you think the first goal will come just after the half an hour mark. I feel like we often do Spurs for this one, but we're going higher or lower. 3, 2, 1. Ooh,
I kind of was very, yeah.
Can I predict?
Go on.
You thought the first half an hour was pretty cagey against Aston Villa. Maybe there's been a bit of a change in Tottenham and therefore...
Yeah, that, slightly. But also, the averages just don't...
The averages.
Add up for me.
Sorry, yeah.
And in fact, me and Sam were saying this off air, and you're right, we have done Tottenham a lot in this market, is that for almost all of the season so far, they've been coming under this time and time again. It just feels like recently, well, I mean, they're not, is why. But things are just starting to change, that they're not coming out of the blocks quite as quickly. Their average time of first goal scored is still 34 minutes, so the average is only slightly higher. Fulham, on the other hand, their average time of first goal scored is 41 and goal conceded is 44. I don't know, just a fancy tight first half hour. And it's nice to have a bit of a differential against you guys.
Is that why you did it?
No, yeah, because you knew, right?
I knew.
Sam?
Okay, I looked at the opening goal and the time it scored at Craven Cottage this season, and depending on if it's the home side or the away side, it's ranging roughly between 60 and 70% of the time it comes in under on this. Also, should Spurs concede the first goal away from home, which has only happened 4 times this season, all 4 of those have been inside the first 30 as well. So I've got a few stats there which hurt my brain a bit, but do seem to back up my point. And then add in the fact that the way Fulham set up under Marco Silva, they are the ultimate wild card team because they're so aggressive in the way they operate, and they will just hack away at you and go for you, and they do entertain that home crowd. Like a season ticket at Craven Cottage looks like good entertainment right now. It has to be said, and they'll go for Spurs. And Spurs themselves, if they get pulled into a transitional game, they love it, right? Because they don't really care about retaining the ball either. And so right from the off, it kind of feels like this has the ingredients for 2 teams to just go back and forward at each other, and there be that early goal.
Were you playing kind of devil's advocate? Were you at the Villa game on the weekend?
I wasn't at the game, no.
No, but you watched it.
Well, I watched it. Yeah.
Do you not find because that in my mind is a similar thing where you've got 2 teams in Villa and Spurs who both normally come out the gates fast and aggressively. Do you think they kind of cancel each other out in that respect?
Well, I think so in that case, and I would never have foreseen it, but Emery was so cautious. Yeah. I think from an energy-saving perspective, due to the European games in between,
fair enough.
that he actually went back 5 and went really conservative and surprised everybody and made a mistake, clearly. Fulham don't have those considerations. They don't have to save energy for a Thursday. They don't have Ajax coming up, that sort of thing. They just go. Andreas Pereira, Harry Wilson, they just run and run and run until they can't run anymore. So I don't think there's a threat of that. So I do see two high energy teams here, two teams that love to play pressing and transitional football. And I had a gut feeling that Craven Cottage sees goals early, and the stats do suggest that does happen.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like I think, as we said, we've covered Spurs a lot here. I always say the same thing. It feels like the one of the most notable characteristics of Postecoglou's Spurs is just flying out from kickoff. Like it's quite clearly like a deliberate tactic to try and start fast and score early and get ahead in games, and then keep your foot on the pedal. And as you say, with Fulham, we're not going to see a side here in Fulham who are going to just drop off and let them do that and kind of say, well, we're just going to sit off and let you come at us and we'll do our best to stand in there. They'll fight fire with fire, and therefore, a goal at either end seems eminently possible within the first 10 minutes, let alone the first half an hour. Yeah. Back to the FA Cup now. We have Championship leaders Leicester. Will they still be leaders come Monday morning? What if Leeds can get a win? But they travel to Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. Total goal minutes is the market here with Sporting Index. It's the total accumulative amount of minutes in which goals are scored within the game. So if there's a goal scored after 10 minutes and an hour, then it would make up 70. If it's just 10 minutes, make up 10. So basically, if you're going higher for this one, you want loads of goals and loads of late goals. Lower means fewer goals or early goals. We're going higher or lower. 3, 2, 1.
Okay. I kind of wasn't expecting that.
I'll go first here because my initial instinct here was to go lower. I think Leicester's good season in the Championship, or their good performance in the Championship, have been like a lot of talk about Man Utd, a lot of talk about Dewsbury Hall, understandably, but they're in a similar way to Leeds. Like it's actually their defensive unit that has been so strong and has made them so dominant. But I thought that when Leeds went to Chelsea. And actually, what you kind of forget is that a really good Championship defensive unit isn't necessarily a very good defensive unit when it comes to playing against Chelsea. Yeah. And players like Wout Faes, who might be, he's not having a great time at the moment, but he might be a very good Championship defender. Suddenly, when he's up against Chelsea, he finds it quite difficult, as we saw in their relegation season.
He was awful. So,
absolutely terrible.
Case in point. Yeah.
So, suddenly you're like, well, and also when you think of the way that Enzo Maresca likes to play, Daniel Farke likes to play very expansive football. It kind of plays into a team like Chelsea's hands. And we saw in Leicester's last round game where they snuck through against Bournemouth in extra time. That game finished 0-0 after full time. And how it finished 0-0, I will never understand. Like Bournemouth carved them open time and time again and just couldn't put the ball in the back of their net. Like that isn't any kind of form to go off to think, well, yeah, actually this could be low scoring. Then you got the Chelsea-Leeds game to factor in. And then Chelsea are just agents of chaos, especially at home. Look what happened when they played against a Newcastle side last time out. Again, a cup game as well, so it should be fairly end-to-end. We can expect Leicester to cause Chelsea some problems too. Cup games and late goals obviously go hand in hand as well, because even if you're 3-1 down, you have to continue to throw caution to the wind, which can lead to goals at both ends. So yeah, it's a pretty high line, but Sam, I'm happy to go.
It's high-ish, yeah, for sure. We sat here last week and we talked about the Arsenal-Brentford line and we just went, it's too high. We added up all the Sheffield United goal minutes, still didn't make the line. And this line isn't that much lower.
No.
That was in the 180s, wasn't it? About 186 maybe on the high. This is 175. It really isn't that much time. And I didn't want to be too influenced by the Monday game that we just watched, where it kind of got a bit out of hand with the Chelsea-Newcastle game late on, just a bit of chaos. But I think we probably have to lean into that a little bit because it is a cup tie. Yeah. And what I came back to in the end was exactly the logic that you've just basically displayed, which is at the end of the day, it's still a Premier League versus a Championship fixture. I know Leicester are top of the Championship and they're very good, but it's still Premier League versus Championship. And the way that Leicester play, it is the kind of team that Chelsea can pick off. They've picked these teams off all season. So I guess we're just hoping the goals come later, but because it's a cup tie, I feel more comfortable in that area.
Dan?
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, agents of chaos, that's very similar to what I've got down here for Chelsea. But the fact that Jackson scored the other day, Palmer, they're all brimming with confidence at the moment. They probably are looking at this game like we can kind of stat pad here and get a few goals.
It's also all Chelsea have got left for the season.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
So it's so crucial to them.
Yeah. Yeah, that is actually a very good point.
Wow.
That's made me feel really good now about the selection.
Whoa.
Thanks for doing that.
Dan just like...
You done?
Oh my God.
I have to be now after that. That's
Okay, yeah, it's showstopper. Back to the Championship now, and the game I just teased. I should have said we'll be talking about that later, but I didn't. Leeds hosting Millwall, and this is a massive game in the Championship because if Leeds win this game by 2 goals, they will move ahead of Leicester on goal difference, 2 goals or more. If they were to win it by a solitary goal, they will go level with Leicester on goal difference, but will be behind them on goals scored. It is that tight at the top. Obviously, Leicester will have a game in hand if that is the case. Millwall have been rejuvenated by the return of legendary striker and manager Neil Harris, who's come in and overseen a string of wins that has moved them away from the relegation picture, albeit probably not quite safe yet. We're looking at total goals here. So there's total goals in the game. Sporting Index have the line at 2.85 to sell, 3.05 to buy. 2.95 is the midpoint. Are we going higher or lower? 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, I was kind of expecting to be on my own here.
I mean, I very nearly went lower.
Yeah.
But I would have had you 100 to 1 to go lower.
Oh, I like that I surprised you.
You love goals.
Yeah, I do love goals. I actually...
And you bet with your heart.
Yeah, that's true. And quite often not very well. I don't know. Well, basically, Millwall aren't going to score here, I don't think. So then we're asking, will Leeds score 3 or more? When you say it out loud, it's obviously not beyond the realms of possibility because Leeds' attack is just very, very good. I kind of wish now we'd kept the golden paddle idea and I could just put it up and say Leeds are going to win this 2-0. And
that's fine. You can say that with that paddle.
There we go. Leeds win 2-0.
Okay, Sam?
Yeah, I'm surprised we went a clean sweep on higher there, just because it's so easy to back the Leeds attack with Rotter and Somerville and Peru and all those guys. They at home they can be.
Jorginho Rotter having a great time at Cheltenham Races this week.
Oh really?
He's a great. He owns horses on the flat. He goes to Cheltenham. He just loves racing.
Okay.
What a man.
Fantastic. Do we need to factor this into our total goals prediction?
The only photo that I saw, he's holding a water.
Okay.
Nice.
4+ for Leeds. I'm a little bit wary of the fact that Neil Harris's effect on Millwall recently. I've written something absurd down on this document. He's put the wall back in Millwall.
Oh,
absolutely,
nice.
I'm really sorry about that. It's disgusting.
What about the mill?
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Defensive wall, the wall. Yeah, he's put the wall. Yeah, because they've been obviously they've definitely been a bit more solid.
Set piece FC.
Yeah, it's basically let's give it to Zian Fleming and let's see what happens. And you know what? It's not working. But against Leeds at Ellen Road, it's not going to work. And eventually the wall will be broken down. I've done it again, sorry. And so that's why I end up with taking the higher.
Yeah, I'm a little bit wary of this just because Leeds basically win every game at home this season. They failed to win 4 and they were all draws, and 3 of them were their first 3 league games. Like, they are relentlessly good at Ellen Road. And I think they'll probably win this game 2-0, as they have done with 7 of their last 9 games at home. So, then you're basically looking at Leeds to score over 3 or more goals. And in 2 of their last 4 wins against Stoke and Norwich, they've only won 1-0. And that is a bit of a blow. But I do just think Millwall's current little run of form is a bit noisy. I'm not really having it. I think it's a classic case of kind of new manager bounce variants where under Joe Edwards they weren't actually that bad. And then Harris has come in, they scored a free kick from like 30 yards that ricocheted off the post, off the keeper and back into the back of the net. Tanganga suddenly scored 2 goals in 4 games from set pieces. Like, I don't know, it feels like that they're getting their slice of luck now, which they're due. Like, I'm not saying they're not due, but eventually it's going to run out. They have been solid though at the back, and the fact that they went to Southampton and beat them 2-1, only conceding 1 goal, and sorted out relatively well is impressive. But because of what this is for Leeds, because for Leeds United, at the beginning of January, like, automatic promotion looked unlikely, and now this is an opportunity to go top when the title was gone. There's just too much at stake here, and again, it plays into their hands that Millwall have gone from being like right on the cusp of relegation to getting 9 points in 4 games that has put them not safe, but like they don't need it.
You're looking at sort of a bit of a sigh of relief there.
Yeah, just
versus Ellen Road probably just chanting attack, 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 attack.
Yeah.
As they whittle down that goal difference and go past Leicester.
And we know that Daniel Farke isn't a manager who's going to be like, well, 1-0 up. That's just, Let's drop in that. That's true. That's fine. He will continue to go for the jugular. Final game of this week, we've got two markets in another one of the FA Cup quarter-finals. Manchester United hosting Liverpool. Liverpool are the favourites, you'll be surprised to hear, for this one. 0.6 is the midpoint, so higher is a Liverpool win, lower is a United win or a United draw. I would be amazed if we're not all three the same. 3, 2, 1. Have you just done that just for...
No. How could I have known what you guys were going to
Let's have a look at your notes.
What notes?
What is going on here?
Did you read the bit underneath?
Are you doing like a differential thing where you're like, I'm so far behind. I have to do whatever they don't do in the hope that...
I'd love to, but I'm not that smart.
Is this why you were asking me out in the corridor about the last time these two teams played? The last time Liverpool didn't score?
Is that it?
It may or may not have been.
when Liverpool had 34 shots?
Man United are the only team this season to keep a clean sheet against Liverpool.
Wild. So it's time they've conceded 8.
Yeah. No.
Amazing Frank Lampard there.
I think we covered this off a bit earlier with Chelsea. Like, this is basically all Man United have this season.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. We're trying to get into the Champions League on merit.
Yeah. To be fair, I'm discounting that with the whole 5th place stuff. But yeah, okay. True. But I think it doesn't come much bigger for United than playing Liverpool. At home, Liverpool arguably will have their minds elsewhere now that they're, looking very good in the title race. I don't know. I think it's... In fact, it seems like I've looked at this whole slate and just gone, this is all going to be tight. Because I feel like I've said it everywhere else.
Nice and tight.
This one is going to be nice and tight. My only worry, which you guys are going to come on to, I'm sure, is just Mo Salah and what Mo Salah can do against Man United. But if he doesn't play, I'm very happy with my selection if he plays.
Sam Ty, what can Mo Salah do against Manchester United?
He scores quite a lot of goals, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So the problem from Man United's perspective here is it's a little bit of what we talked about earlier with the whole Fulham-Tottenham thing and how they tend to turn into basketball games. Man United insist on playing basketball games at the moment, not football games. And they are conceding 20-plus shots in every single game they play. No matter who they play, no matter how good the attack is, whether it's a newly promoted side or a top side, they are leaking shots and chances on goal because they cannot control the way the game is played because they can't put the foot on the ball. So they are going to try and play this way against Liverpool, the best transitional team in the entire world, in my opinion, with Mohamed Salah probably playing a part, Dan, probably, even if it's just from the bench for 30 minutes or whatever it is, probably playing a part. And look, Man United they've got away with quite a few this season in those transitional states where they've just about managed to squeeze out a win against a Luton, or they've been really badly troubled by Everton, but won 2 penalties and won anyway. It's not going to happen against Liverpool, man. It's not going to happen at all. Based on the pattern of play I'm envisioning, this is a nightmare for Man United and potentially a bit of a bloodbath. Yeah,
I totally agree. I think as a matchup, I think if it was 1.2, I'd be going higher. I can't really see. It's difficult because United do surprise you consistently in games like this, where you think it's why their record against City is just much better than you anticipate. But with the rate that they're conceding chances against any opposition, it doesn't matter who the opposition is, they concede so many shots and so many chances. I thought Liverpool were magnificent against Manchester City. I also thought it was weird. I thought they were the better team in the first half, although I seem to be on my own in that opinion. Where going into that game, I was kind of a little bit concerned for them. But Endo won the midfield battle against Rodri, which was nuts. And they just looked so capable of creating chances at will, so good at retaining possession. This is, as Sam says, like a tactical mismatch in my mind for Ten Hag, unless he tries something very different. So I'm wary of falling into a trap here because I'm so utterly certain that Liverpool are going to win this game. And yet, I remember feeling utterly certain of that in years past. Yeah. And Man United under Jose Mourinho or whatever, just churning out a 2-0 win and irritating just about everybody on the planet. Yeah. Obviously, those days are gone, and some of the scorelines that these two have shared since 2021, you look back at them, there's been a 7-0, a 4-0, a 4-0 and a 5-0, and Liverpool have been on the correct side of those 3 or 4 times, which means that in one of them, it did not go to plan. And randomly, at certain points, Man United just turn up and beat Liverpool.
and no one expects it. So this does feel like a bit of a trap, but you can only go on what you've seen.
Yeah.
And what I've seen so far is that Man United have deserved to be beaten in most of the games they've played in the last 10 weeks. They've somehow not been defeated, and fair play to them for eking that out. But you don't get away with that stuff against top teams, and Liverpool are very good.
Indeed. Final market we're looking at with Sporting Index is the last match goal market. 68.5 is midpoint here, 67 to sell, 70 to buy. You're going higher or lower, 3, 2, 1. Now, if this was a basketball game, Sam, what would the line be?
I don't do basketball.
89.5.
Don't do basketball, no. Don't like it.
You would just talk about how this is basketball.
Well, I've seen a game.
How do you know?
So I know it goes back and forward.
Right.
And do you know what? The reason as to why I don't like it. Okay. Because it's...
Too much?
Well, I don't think points are valuable enough.
Okay.
It's too easy to score.
Basketball also on Spreadex and Sporting Index?
Not for me. I like football because it's low scoring.
Okay.
And goals are hard to come by, hard to achieve, and therefore very much worth celebrating. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is, if we're expecting this basketball-style game, if we're expecting this pattern of play, if we're expecting Man United to leak chances through midfield and potentially be chasing this game, they're just going to open themselves out to more damage, basically, as the game goes on. And if Liverpool can continue to bring players off the bench like Mohamed Salah to just continue compounding that advantage, I go last match goal. I feel really certain on this as well. I felt really certain on that last week, and it didn't come in on Liverpool versus Man City. No, it didn't happen.
And to be fair, I've actually copy and pasted my rationale from last week here, so hopefully we get it this time.
Go on.
Well, in the league, Liverpool have scored the most goals after the 75th minute with 24. So it just feels really nice to bring up. And I actually have sort of... I know there is a nice world where both of these markets come in for me, but I see the last match goal as if it is all going badly and I'm going to lose that last one, that Liverpool will just keep.
So you're looking for the golden middle.
Golden middle, yeah. So, yeah, I think they're... And also, like, this feels really low. Like, what, we've got like 21, 22 minutes there for a goal. With added time on.
Probably more
really
like 30, mate, based on
like,
added time these days.
Literally, it's like almost a third of the game that we have to play with there. It just feels...
I agree. The only way I see...
Careful.
the last 20 minutes of this game, right, just feels impossible to me that it's not going to be frenetic and end-to-end.
I agree.
The only way I can see that happening is if it's one of those games where Liverpool go like 7-0 up and everyone's like, whoa, is it going to be like 11-0? And then just nothing happens, because that's what always happens in those games.
Yeah, but when was the last goal in that 7-0, I wonder? Should we have a quick look? Because it probably did come in after the 70th.
I think it was all quite early, wasn't it?
83, 88.
Wow. Yeah. So there you go.
There you go. It doesn't even stop there.
Sorry, United fans. That brings this week's episode of Higher or Lower to a close. Thank you very much to both the guys next to me for sharing their tips, thoughts and insight. Make sure you check out SpreadX and Sporting Index for all of your spread betting needs. There's a new customer offer link in the bio below, so if you haven't got an account with either, click on that, set up an account. You'll find the offer in there, T's and C's to apply, and do remember that losses can exceed your initial deposit with spread betting. Check out oddschecker for all your fixed odds betting needs, and WhoScored for all of your stats to inform your betting ahead of the weekend's football. Hopefully plenty in there to get stuck into. I hope you enjoyed watching. Do enjoy the football. We'll see you again next week, and please ensure that you're gambling responsibly.